I have very big hair today. I want to come on and discuss the Esthetician Summit we have coming up April 2023. Here's all the speakers. You probably have seen me advertise on all of my social media. We also have a Esthetician Summit Instagram as well. And many of you probably don't know we're in early bird ticket sales for our event coming up April 23rd. I'm really excited to be able to bring an education event to this area of this magnitude. So all of the speakers that I have chosen to be on stage with me are educators that are absolutely amazing in our aesthetic industry, and they educate from the same way that I educate from. So if you've never listened to any of my podcasts, you've never listened to any of the things that I've spoken about when it comes to education, your education is what allows you to command more money. The more educated you are, the more money you're able to command, right? I always get people that ask me, how are you able to get $250 for a facial? How are you able to do $95? It's the education that allows me to justify and explain to people very clearly that I'm educated in what I'm helping them try to achieve, right? So when I put educators together to join me on stage, we're educating from a point of view to give you information. And I think our industry has really gotten bogged down with product knowledge. So product knowledge is very different than aesthetic education. And aesthetic education, what we're traditionally learn aesthetic education is typically postgraduate is when we would go to a trade show. You would go to general session. It wasn't product specific. You would get straight aesthetic education. We have really gone away from that just because a lot of people kind of don't understand the importance of the difference between product knowledge and aesthetic education. For me, I do a great of combining the two, but the way I learned to become a better esthetician was to actually immerse myself into aesthetic education. And I'll give you an example. Many of you have heard me talk, whether it's been on social media or whether you've seen me in person, talk about the importance of understanding what is it that we exactly do in aesthetics and how we can affect change in our client's skin. Whether you're doing hair removal, whether you're doing skincare services, it doesn't matter really what you're doing. So it's always important for us to understand that aesthetic education has to do with getting more knowledge and what we can and can't do as an esthetician. So our Esthetician Summit is going to be right here in Plano at a huge event center. I'm very excited for all the speakers that are coming, all the brands that are coming. We are providing booths where we will have tables and chairs next to the booth where you can actually sit down and have conversations with not only the speakers, but you can sit down and have conversations with the brands themselves. And the reason I partner with a lot of these brands is because their aesthetic education is absolutely top-notch. I have actually been talking quite a bit about Victoria Deanne. So Victoria Deanne is a peptide company that I was introduced to, probably 8 or 9 years ago when they were first starting. And we were discussing the importance of peptides and why peptides are not educated on in our industry. And the reason they're not is because they're very simple, right? I thought that peptides were this complex, chemistry-based product that you had to understand chemistry and how it interacted in the skin, and you had to learn his skin histology, and it really wasn't. So if any of you ever got my esthetician product in a box, my product box that I did probably 2 years ago, they were also a vendor, and I love Victoria Deanne because they are the only peptide company that can go with any brand that you are using. And I cannot speak highly enough. I did not make change in my post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation until I started using Victoria Deanne. I was a huge alpha and beta hydroxy. I was getting peels a lot. And it wasn't until I started using their peptides when it started reversing my post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I really always encourage every esthetician that's doing skincare to not only understand and take their education, but bring it into your treatment and your practice, because it will make a difference into whatever you're trying to correct when it comes to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or melasma or anything, especially with their eye. Their eye is amazing. We did befores and afters in our private group doing a challenge. But if you are not understanding why peptides should be a part of every single client that you have their regimen, you need to come to our Esthetician Summit. You need to listen to exactly what they're going to be saying about peptides, and you need to understand why it is you're not probably seeing the change that you want to see. Now, I love Victoria Deanne. They're going to be there. They're going to be presenting on peptides. They're also going to be having a booth, and they're going to be talking to all of you about why it's important to include peptides in your treatment and your protocols. But the key to it is change, right? I love it. I'm going to be having Susan Wade, who's going to be presenting. Her and I have had a really phenomenal relationship. Her and I speak the very same language. We love peptides. I can't speak about this company and their brand enough, and I'm so happy that they're partnering us and coming to us. I also love Maxine Drake. So many of you know Maxine Drake and I have partnered together on lives. We've done education, especially during COVID. She is kind of one of the reasons why I went and has been a partner with her beauty business summit, which she has coming up in March. Our Esthetician Summit's going to be in April. But the way that she educates estheticians and the way that she speaks about estheticians is amazing. Not only is she an amazing coach, she has an amazing private group for estheticians, but she also has a different way of helping you understand and manage your money issues very subtly. She was very nice. When I went and was a speaker in 2019, I was introduced to Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and she coaches on the Mike Michalowicz way of doing accounting for your company. And that was the first time that I started realizing that I needed to have allocations in my business to pay for certain things. So we always talk about, paying ourselves. We always talking about paying ourselves the way we should. The reason I really got the aha moment after I heard her speak at her event was because many of us don't even allocate right? So I started deciding what I wanted to earn with my income and where I wanted to go. So I want to have an account for rent. I wanted to have an account for payroll. I want to do all these things. It was really ignited from her. So I'm really glad that she's coming and being a speaker at our event as well. She is going to have a very unique space in the Esthetician Experience, where many of you guys will be able to speak with her and her team directly, especially if you're looking for an aesthetic coach. If you feel that you're at the level where you need to have some guidance to take you to the next level, she has an amazing group of women who are doing phenomenal things in the industry. They're keeping their heads down. They're staying focused. And I love being a part of her tribe. So I'm very glad that Maxine Drake is going to be there. Barbara Devlin is the distributor for the U.S. for Analotan Pro. They were also a vendor in our Esthetician Product in a Box. And they have some amazing, phenomenal products if you're looking for help with rosacea. Rosacea is a skin condition that we are really not taught well on. We're not taught well on how to do correction. We're not taught well on how to understand the importance that rosacea comes with every Fitzpatrick's and the recognition of them. And we're not taught how to treat rosacea skin, even if you're not able to use alpha or beta hydroxy. So Analotan Pro is a brand out of Israel. They have an amazing product line for rosacea. They have amazing education specifically because they're taking the other approach towards treatments. I think here in the US, we're very heavy on peels. We're not understanding that everyone cannot get a peel. And when you're dealing with rosacea, peels are not going to help that condition. So learning about how to treat clients, recognizing clients that have rosacea in any Fitzpatrick, one is always important. And then understanding the best treatment protocol for people who do have compromised skin with rosacea and how to get the best results. If you're not following them right now and seeing the befores and afters that they have on their page, you are missing out on amazing results for rosacea-based clients. And rosacea is across every Fitzpatrick. It is not just for Fitzpatrick 1 or 2. So if you are someone who has just assumed that rosacea does not have any effect on skin with Fitzpatrick 5 or 6, you are mistaken, and you need to understand and be educated on rosacea skin. Analotan Pro with Barbara Devlin is going to be addressing that as well. And I can't wait for you guys to actually see the befores and afters that she has gotten and how she went about getting them for people who were not able to get any aggressive skincare services done, but still have amazing results. That's why it's always important to surround yourself in places where you can be educated on skin conditions, whether or not you are treating them yourself. Also, how to recognize them. I think a lot of us get into our treatment room and we get into this problem where we already figure out what we want to do regardless of what the skin is telling us. And that is why I'm a big advocate of skin consultations and doing that every time and taking pictures for your clients, because sometimes the things that you're doing to the clients can be harmful to the clients if you actually don't understand what is happening in their skin. So you need to understand the importance of education so that you can recognize what exactly is happening in the skin. It has really sometimes nothing to do with product. It has to do with you're using products that are not effective to their skin because you're not understanding the condition that they have. And rosacea is one of those. That's a sneaky skin condition that many of us are not educated well on. And we also don't seek out education on rosacea-based skin. But there's a lot of clients that have rosacea. So I'm very excited that they're going to be at our Esthetician Summit as well. And then Shannon O'Brien. She is from Love to Sugar. She has been a sugar mama forever. I love her. She used to sugar me when I was back in California. Her and I have still a very viewed YouTube channel where we discuss the differences between waxing and sugaring. If many of you don't know, years ago under Say Brazil, I created a sugar. So I'm open to any type of hair removal as long as it's effective and as long as people understand the differences between them. Whenever I do presentations, I talk to people about hair removal and all the ones that I've experienced. So I've experienced every type of hair removal except electrolysis. So I know how to talk to people about sugaring because I get sugared. I've been getting sugared now 13 years, 12 years, something like that. And the reason I started getting sugaring was because I had laser hair removal done a year after I had Celine and my hair started changing, right? And then when I stopped working for the doctor and stopped getting free laser services, I went back to wax and my hair was breaking, just very awful. And so I had to have another alternative because my hair was not responding to the way the wax it did before I had laser done. So many of you have clients that have had laser hair removal. They may be having more ingrowns. They may be having more folliculitis, but you're not realizing that sometimes the hair changes, right? So being educated on different modalities of hair removal is not a detriment. It actually expands your education. Some clients may not be able to be waxed. That's just happened. Some of them may not be able to be sugared. Some of them may have had laser hair removal for years and they just stopped doing it. And now they're still struggling with trying to figure out why those hairs were never affected during laser hair removal and what it can be a very big alternative. I love sugaring because the longer I've done it, the less I'm going. So right now I only go 6 times a year to get sugared just because the sugar after that first application, it grows back thinner. It affects the follicle a little bit different because the sugar actually stays in the follicle. So that's really a big thing, but I'm glad she's educating on the power of sugar for some of you who do sugar, but also understanding for clients who do sugar and then come to you to wax, why they may not be responding the way a client who's always waxed has. Again, surround yourself with education. Every client that comes to you is going to have a problem. You need to have their background and need to ask questions to help understand them best. The ones that do really well are the ones that problem solve for the clients that the situation is right now. Not what we want to achieve, not what we want them to be a client of, but addressing their issue, right? So love to sugar. Have I talked about Pamela Springer? No, I haven't talked about Pamela Springer. She will also be presenting specifically on Higher Fitzpatrick's corrections on chemical peel damage, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation because of peels that have damaged. She has been very helpful in not only discussing people who've gotten damage from peels. We've seen them all over social media. I have shared with a correction that I have done. She has given products to help correct that. She is a wealth of knowledge. She has done my modified Jesner. She's a wealth of knowledge of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and melasma and different Fitzpatricks and skin types, along with historical background. So whether it's a Hispanic skin type, whether it's Asian, whether it's African American with higher Fitzpatrick's, she has all of that knowledge that she explains to you that are characteristics for people, especially when you're doing chemical peels. And honestly, I think we over peel people. I think we're peeling people too much because we think we're correcting when we're not understanding that sometimes correction does not come from speeding up the cell cycle. Sometimes correction has to come at a cellular level, which is why, again, I talk about peptides. And then understanding the importance of how do you get that type of education. So Pamela Springer is going to be speaking about that. And then last but not least, the wonderful Nick Townsend. So Nick Townsend, him and I met a few years ago, and we have followed each other. I have always loved his videos when it comes to brows and brow correction. And I love when he speaks because he speaks from a place of authenticity. He has started from working in a bathroom in the mall to the place that he has now. I have helped him understand the range that he was limiting himself to. I encourage him to start his own tent brand. I encourage him to start his own retail brand to support brows. And I love seeing him flourish, but I also love him being able to not only come to our events and present. He's going to be presenting 2 days. So he'll be on Tuesday and Wednesday presenting how you're able to niche down and make a lot of money just doing brows. And a lot of people think that brow waxes is an industry or a service that you can't make a lot of money at, but a lot of people don't understand the support to brows, the maintaining the brows, understanding that people want to use things when they are not doing what they should be doing at home, the education on brows, understanding the differences between micro needling and micro whatever they're doing on the brows and all of the other things that are coming out, why the hair changes, why it doesn't change. Oh, Nick, I love you. So I love the way he educates in a real way. The reason I have invited him to be a presenter at my event is because he not only speaks to you and speaks into you, but he's the type of educator and person that will get you to understand that you can make whatever you want to make when you perfect your craft. And I find estheticians, we try to be a jack of all trades. And unfortunately, some of us are jack of all trades and master of nothing. So that means you don't master anything. You just do it. And I always talk, for the last year, every week I invite a beauty school to Smooth Skin Supply. And my first 2 things that I tell estheticians is, one, you have to like what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to be in this career for a long time. Number 1. Number 2, you may not like doing facials. What you think you're doing, you may not like it. And if you don't like it, it's going to relay to that client, whether they see your body language or they feel it in your hands. So what you do in this industry, you have to enjoy it, right? It has to be oozing from you. You also have to find a way to not only like it, but love it, do it well, but advise people in the way that they should be responding to what you're asking them to do. When I talk to people about niching down, the reason I niched down in my 8th or 9th year as an esthetician was because I was working myself to the bone, right? I would go from a facial to a wax appointment to a body wax service, back to a facial, to a peel, to a microdermabrasion, to LED. I would really run myself ragged trying to figure out what it is that I like doing. When I decided to do just Brazilians and body waxing and my one facial, it changed the way I was an esthetician. When I talk with Nick, and him and I we talk all the time, and we talk about the brow industry and how people want to get into the brow industry, but they don't understand what it takes to maintain a brow business and grow that brow business. You have to be surrounding yourself around people who are doing what you want to do. So the reason I love gathering people together is because you want to be in the room with people who are doing what you are striving to do. It's not about them speaking to you, preaching to you, educating you. Those are great. But you want to understand and be able to have conversations to where they're encouraging you. You're not going to be able to get that at a trade show. You know, I've had so many people talk to me about trade shows. I am not in the mood to be doing trade shows anymore. One, I never had an authentic experience with people at trade shows. It would be so busy. There would be so many people. I would only, my attention would be dragged in 15 different directions. I had to make sure my class was right. I would have to do all these different things. Our summit is doing the opposite. We're allowing you to sit down at their booth, which is something a trade show will never do, right? I'm also allowing people to speak to every single presenter and brand with their business, with the understanding that you can walk up to a business and say, I would love to partner with you. You're not able to say that at a trade show. You're not able to have those kinds of conversations. I've had people try to have those conversations with me, and I just never had the time to sit down with them and say, let's put a plan together. Let's understand what it is in your business that you're looking to do. This is how we can partner with you, right? The reason I love, and the people that I picked to be a part of our industry, all of them do this. All of them do this, whether it's on social media. All of them do this, whether it's in person. All of us are very consistent in the message that we're trying to get across. The more you understand the importance of your aesthetic education, the more you can command, right? No different than any other job. Every other job that you would work, you would expect to have a yearly raise, right? But many of us don't give ourselves a raise because we don't think we're worthy of making the amount that we make. I stopped worrying about what people could and could not afford and focused on the ones who paid it. And that changed my outlook on my career as an esthetician. I stopped doing 10 and 12, 15 people a day and started understanding that, one, my body wasn't going to be able to last years doing that. And two, I wanted quality clients, which means I wanted to command more hourly. I also wanted to make more hourly, which means I was going to see less people. So if I can make in a day seeing 15 people and make it seeing 5, I'm going to focus on the servicing 5 and make the same amount, because it's no longer a numbers game anymore. When you start commanding what you want, it's no longer a money in a numbers game. If I'm getting $250 a facial and I do 5 people a day, add it up. If I'm doing Brazilians and I'm doing 5 Brazilians in a day, add it up. So you really have to start understanding, the more you are in our industry, the more you're figuring out what it is that you want to do, the more you're executing in what you want to do and you're commanding the money that you want. It's no longer about, oh, I got to have a full book. Now it's about quality clientele. It's about that 20% that I tell a lot of you that you ignore because you're focused on the 80%. The 20% are the ones that keep your doors open. They're the ones that pay you on time. They show up for their appointments. Those are the ones you should be loving on and appreciating. But we focus on the 80. We focus on the seasonals that only come once a year. We focus on new clients. We focus on the clients that we might get. So we're going to give them a deal, right? No. The successful businesses that are and have been striving through the pandemic, now going into the recession, are ones that are consistent in their message. They love on their clients. They show appreciation, but they command exactly what they want because people will pay for quality. So when it comes to you understanding the importance of your education, you're not going to halfway do your education, right? I've been very clear in my education. It was very unique. I went to a Sedesco school. So 80% of my teachers were not from the US. So the way I was educated was not the way most people are educated when it comes to aesthetic education. So my understanding of skincare coming out of school and aesthetics coming out of school is very different than other people. So when I speak to them in that way and just say, let's go very basic. Why would I come to you as an esthetician? What do you provide me if I walked into your treatment room and I get this look? Why would I choose you as an esthetician? Do you know your why? Do you know how you can be important in my life? Can you tell me how you can be important in my life? If you can't, then I need you to go back and figure out what it is that you want to do. Because until you answer that question, clients are going to be that 80% to you. You're not going to be important. They're going to show up when they want to. They're not going to cancel they're going to not cancel their appointments. They're going to no show. They're going to waste your time because you haven't proven or explained to them what it is you provide and why you're important in their life, right? So I'm excited about our Aesthetic Summit. I'm excited about being able to gather all of these amazing educators into one space. I'm excited because we have never had a event like this in our industry where you are able to sit down and talk to vendors and brands and have them be open to partnering with you and providing you with the help that you need. And I think that's one thing that's really missing in our industry is brands that are partnering with you. I learned this a long time ago. You know, when I started Say Brazil, it was to provide a solution, right? I was the type, I don't want to wax people for a long time. I didn't want to be down there. I wanted to have amazing post products so that when they came to me the next time, their service would be easier and it would be quicker for me. That was the goal. But I find that I am one of the only brands that partner with you to see your success. I'm giving you things to sell to make money. I'm showing you how to add your products to your services to increase your service price, but also have extra money from that product, right? Retail dollars. I show people constantly, if you don't want to buy a full size and add that to the service, add the sample. Take the sample, bump it up $10, do a promotion for that month. Everybody gets a personal bar, or everybody gets an ouch bomb. Like I literally break down how you can make money. And I find in our industry that there's a lot of companies and new companies that are not into partnering with estheticians. They're interested in you being a commodity. They want your money with giving very little back. So when I started understanding the relationship that I was having with all the estheticians that partner with me, it was more of, can I help you get what you need to provide for your family, to take money home and live off of? Did you know that when you charge this and then you charge this is exactly what you can take home every week, every day? Did you know that this industry, you can make a lot of money if you set it up correctly? I started understanding that it wasn't just them partnering with me, but it was in me to show people how I made it and the decisions I made in order to become successful. My idea of success can be very different than your idea of success, but my idea of success has always been to be able to provide not only for the business to continue, but to be able to have a very nice home life, a roof over my head, food in my stomach, gas in the car, all of the basic necessities that I needed to live, right? When I started breaking down the cost per service by Angela Green and explaining to people, this is how you get more hourly. This is why you should be paying yourself. This is why you should be starting off and understanding that once you have money in your own account, you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. You don't have to take money out of the account to live off of and then be negative and put that same money back in the next day. All the things that I did. So I wanted to take it a step farther with my brand. I wanted to partner with estheticians and show them this is how you make money. This is why you're not making money. You can't charge $55 for a Brazilian and expect to pay yourself and your hourly rent. Because, right, I'm going to break down your rent hourly and be able to cover the cost to do the service. There's no extra money. So where does your extra money come from? The retail. And this is how you retail. So if you're not great at selling, include it into the service price. For all the months, everyone gets a personal cleansing bar. For next month, everyone's going to get an ouch bomb after that. So I started breaking down A, B, C equals D, like adding all of them up so that way people could understand this is how I do it. I'm not just interested in getting your money. What I'm interested in helping you do is to have a thriving business so that you're not working for free, so that you're not donating your time, or this is not an expensive, overglorified hobby, right? Because for some of you, you're not paying yourself. Some of you are not charging enough. Some of you don't sell retail, which I don't understand. And you think you can make it with no retail, but there's no extra money. So you can't reinvest. You can't go into a bigger space. You can't hire staff because you're not charging enough and you're not selling retail. That's it. And I love being able to help people understand that I was not always in this space, right? I evolved. Next year will be 20 years for me. I evolved because I didn't know what I liked. And I didn't surround myself with people who were like me, trying to become better, trying to be dealing with my money issues, but also be with people who are educating me from an aesthetic point of view, not a product. I didn't need any more product education. I needed aesthetic education. How do I become a better esthetician and how do I gain more knowledge if I'm not around other people who are educating me as an esthetician in the aesthetic industry, not product? So the reason I want the Esthetician Summit to be successful and want all of you to attend is because you are not surrounding yourself with people who are educating you aesthetically. When I asked the question earlier today, how many of you know what a peptide is? I'm pretty sure none of you really understand how peptides work and what they are. We'll be training you on that at the aesthetic industry because every client that you had should be using a peptide. I'm pretty sure many of you don't understand the true differences of the Fitzpatrick, and many of you are not understanding the importance of why rosacea is so debilitating to clients and how you can treat it without alpha and beta hydroxy. Some of you probably don't even know the definition between the difference of the alpha or a beta hydroxy. Like, I really want those of you who are watching right now to understand the importance of, I have to be able to command more, and the more I command has to come with the more educated I am. And I'm not talking about education on products. I'm talking about aesthetic education. Understanding the differences of rosacea, the different types. Understanding the importance of knowing the difference between Fitzpatrick's and ethnicity. Because you can have a Fitzpatrick of 2 and they still be African American. And do you know how to treat the different type that just targets hyperpigmentation? Yes, you can. Can you use a peptide that's just going to address firmness or collagen production? Yes, you can. So if you're not using those things in your treatment room now and you're trying to correct those, you need to get aesthetic education as to what you need to do to understand how it affects the skin in that way. That is why it's always important that when you do find yourself in aesthetic education and you're educating yourself, you want to surround yourself with people who understand why that's important. And that's what our summit's about. So if you're not signed up for the summit, we're still in early bird. Early bird's going to end December 31st, and then we'll be with the rest of y'all be in late bird, right? I'm providing lunch. We have an amazing hotel that's going to be providing free shuttles back and forth. It's going to be in April, which will be a great time here. It won't be too cold, won't be too hot, but it's going to put you in an environment where there's going to be lots of education happening. So I can't wait to see all of you. I will continue to rerun this as well. I do encourage many of you to reach out, send me a DM if you have any questions. We are advertising it a lot more. I have a full events page on Facebook, and I have a full Instagram, which is called the Esthetician Summit, here on Instagram as well, where you can ask questions as well. But we're excited to be able to bring this level of education, especially during this time, to help all of you improve not only your basic knowledge of education in the aesthetics industry, but to look at what it is that you need to do for your business. Surround yourself with people who are successful, and then not only ask them questions, but have them tell you what it is that they did to get there. That way you don't make all the mistakes, because a lot of us have made a lot of expensive mistakes. Not only have we made expensive mistakes, but we've made mistakes that have cost us not only time, but our business, you know? So send me a DM if you want to register. Like I said, late bird will start January 1st. Early bird is happening now. We still have space available. We have 2-day and 3-day options. The 3rd day is full Say Brazil. Nick Townsend will be presenting on Say Brazil Day. We'll be going over cost per service on the Wednesday as well. So if you don't know your cost per service, we'll have lots of raffles and games happening that day too. So can't wait to see you. Send me DMs if you have any question, and everyone have a great holiday. Take care. Bye.